Welcome to Growth with Portia, a weekly conversation for your personal and professional growth. Here is your host, Portia Booker.
Hey listeners, welcome to Growth with Portia. I'm your host, Portia Booker, and yes, this is my real name. So question for you, did you bring your curious mind today? If so, I don't want to keep you waiting. Let's dive in. Life is full of trials and errors, people. Believe me when I tell you this. But in the midst of the trials, there's always a silver lining if we're open to it. So question for my listeners today. How many trials are you willing to put yourself through to finally achieve the life that you want? Let that sink in. So today, I am joined by a returning guest who was laid off 8 times but never threw in the towel. She's a serial entrepreneur, author, and television host who I also have the honor of calling my mentor. So welcome back to Groove with Portia, Miss Sharifah Hardie. How you doing today, Sharifah?
I am excited. I'm excited to be here with you. I'm also honored to call you a friend, and I'm just so proud of you and your growth that I've watched over the years. You are truly amazing.
Thank you, Sharif. You're going to make me cry. We ain't trying to do that today. But you know what? It's happy tears. And I truly appreciate all of the conversations we've had. I've been able to really watch all the great things that you've done and take notes. You know, like they say, the best room to be in is the room of improvement. And me watching your journey of never giving up really gave me fuel and said to me, Portia, if Sharifah can do it, you can do it too. So we're going to move right along. Sharifah, I
think
love.
that's beautiful. I think that's beautiful. Not to interrupt, but I didn't want to gloss over what you just said, in that I truly appreciate it. But I tell people all the time, everything I have gone through is not for me. It's for somebody else. So I can empathize with them, or I can be an example to them of what is possible. You know, and I heard you say several times, never giving up, never giving up, never giving up. And I honor that. I respect that. But I always say, like, there wasn't an option that came in and was like, oh, Sharifah, you can give up. This is what giving up looks like. No, you still have to get up. You still have to move on. You still have to make things happen. So it probably, if I did get an option to not do what I've done, I might have taken it. Unfortunately, that option just never arose. And I decided I had to work because I like the roof over my head.
Sharifah, look, me and you think very similar because that was my journey. You know, I could either take the pity party route like most people, oh, this plan didn't work, so now, oh well. But as we both know, when life, our path, when we're on it, we don't have control over how the path is going to maneuver. We only have control over our actions of how we're going to take on the trials of the path. And I can honestly say that it took me a little bit of time, Sharifah, to shift my mindset from a place of why does this keep happening to me to what is this trying to teach me? And I'm grateful that I found that mindset shift, because now for me, the journey is what I truly enjoy. No matter how many stones are thrown in my way to stump my toe, or, as you know, hit our funny bone, and it's not funny at all.
No, it's not. But one of the things I always tell people, I was telling a friend of mine the other day who had to move unexpectedly, and she was just stressed out. And I said, you know what? You are stressed because you feel like you're losing control. I said, but the truth is, you never had control to begin with. Control is an illusion. God is in control. And if we keep that in mind, we will let go of this belief system that we really believe we control the outcome or control this. No, just let go and let God. And then your life, your experiences, your thought patterns will change, and your life will change.
Oh, come on, Sharifah. I feel like I done came to church today, because that's so true that we don't have control. And I think we've kind of adopted this expectation that we have control over every single aspect and step to go from point A to point B, when really we only have control over, again, our actions, our steps of not giving up of, that's why when I have conversations with my friends, like if you want something bad enough, I tell them, how bad do you want it? You got to
Right.
put in the work. You can't just say, oh, universe, I want this nice house with the white picket fence. Well, how do you expect to get that house if you just sit and complain all day?
Yes,
I
I
mean,
truly believe that. I truly believe that. I believe that God blesses what you put your hand to. What is it that you're doing? What is it that you are working on? If you want God to bless you with that beautiful house, what are you doing to go in the direction of that house? I mean, I think that's the most important thing that we often forget, because if you want something and you're not doing any action, it really is just a wish. It's wishful thinking. And we have to get past wishful thinking, because we as a people have to be able to create empires for our people, like other people are creating for their people.
and Sharifah, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that literally segues into kind of what you're doing. You've created this platform called Support My Black Business to help entrepreneurs of color to stay afloat post all the COVID tanking of so many businesses. And so, Sharifah, for our listeners who are tuning in, can you share with us the inspiration behind that? Because I
Yes,
know that we've seen so many of similar, but what was your inspiration?
yes, and just to be clear, it's created for Black people. When anyone says people of color, that includes a lot of different people. This platform, supportmyblackbusiness.org, is created specifically and solely for Black people. During a global pandemic, during the COVID pandemic, 441,000 Black businesses closed across the nation. That's 500,000 businesses that closed. They're gone. Their doors are no longer open, right? And Black people had the least amount of businesses to begin with. So for us to lose that amount of businesses, to me, it was just horrible. I mean, for lack of a better word. And then I watched during a global pandemic how most of the government funding did not go to Black businesses at all. That's one of the reasons I became the president of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce for the Long Beach area. And that area includes the city of Long Beach, the city of Carson, Lakewood, Linwood, Bellflower, San Pedro, Gardena, Torrance, Norwalk. I'm here to help people specifically in those areas, but I will help anybody that I can help. So when I saw that the 441,000 businesses closed, I said, okay, what do I need to do? And I wasn't sure at that moment. And I saw a video, I watched the video, and there were three sisters. And those sisters were struggling with their ice cream business. So they went and spoke with their father, and their father told them to create a GoFundMe. And Black people are very proud. And they said, we don't want to create a GoFundMe. We don't want to beg. That's so embarrassing. And their father in his infinite wisdom said, look, you either create a GoFundMe or you go out of business. Like, those are your options. And they went ahead and they created this GoFundMe, and they raised $30,000 for their business, and they are still in business today. And so I said to myself, if those sisters can do that for their business, what can I do for all the sisters and brothers across the country so that we can save some of those businesses? And some people were surprised. Some people were like, Sharifah, crowdfunding, why crowdfunding? Some people said, do you really expect to raise all the money? Because my goal is to raise $1.5 billion across the entire platform. That's not just one campaign, that's across all of the campaigns. And we have people on there who are raising 10,000, people like myself. We're like, look, for my business, ask Sharifah to help the amount of people I want to help. I want to raise $50 million, but total across the platform is $1.5 billion. And people said, Sharifah, do you expect to raise that money? I said, absolutely. I have no doubt in my mind that I'm going to raise that amount of money, because here's the thing. Black businesses are in mission critical. Okay. We need some FEMA type relief. That's what I call it. We need FEMA relief. Now, FEMA shows up when there's a disaster, when there's an emergency. And this is not the moment for us to say, well, you know what, let's fill out all this paperwork. Let's go through this red tape. And sometime in 2024, we're going to receive a check. No, we need these checks in 2022. We need these resources in 2022. We need this help right now. We need immediate assistance for those businesses. And so if I have to be the one who goes out and asks for help for businesses, I will. And scripture says, you have not because you ask not. And when you ask but amiss. And when I ask, I don't ask amiss. I ask with expectancy in my heart. Everybody I go to, I'm like, look, I need your help. I need your support. I need you to help these Black businesses. Whatever your donation is, whatever that amount is, $5, $10, whatever it is, help these Black businesses.
And Sharifah, thank you so much for shedding light on that, because I don't think we realize how many Black businesses were affected. We see on the news all the COVID numbers rising, of course, but we don't think about all the businesses that were tanked as a result of COVID, not enough staffing, people getting sick, not enough people being able to patronize because of family circumstances. I mean, 441,000. That, wow. And think about all the money that they've lost, right? All the investment that's gone, all the employees out of work, people that have put 10, 15, 20 years into this investment of their business, wiped.
Completely wiped. That's what people don't get. And a lot of this is political, right? And I am running for Senate in 2024. We can go into that later. But when I say political, sometimes people don't see what is right before their eyes. They don't understand that America is based on capitalism. Everything in America comes down to the US dollar, the almighty dollar. So during global pandemic, many businesses closed, but there were other businesses that grew. Now, I'll give you one that you may not have noticed, but if you pay attention right now, you'll see during a global pandemic, every business was forced to close down at a certain time, except for one. Walmart closed. Everybody closed, except for 7-Elevens. 7-Elevens were open 24 hours. And now there's a 7-Eleven on every corner. I got a 7-Eleven if I go left. I got a 7-Eleven if I go right. There were businesses who grew during a global pandemic. There were businesses who closed their business during a global pandemic. And not all of it was, I don't point my finger and say, oh, this is the government, this is the man trying to get us. No, some of the businesses, and when I say business, I mean Black business specifically that I'm referring to, had not positioned themselves for any type of assistance. And one of the things that we have to do is we have to go in and we have to set up our businesses. One of the things that I always ask is, are you operating a business or are you operating a hustle? Now, there's no judgment on either one. If you want to hustle, baby, hustle. But if you're hustling, when you go to the government and you ask for any type of assistance, you have no business. I met people who have been in business for 20, 30 years and they have never filed taxes. People who've been in business did not have an EIN number. People who are in business don't have a bank account. How is it that you are in business when you haven't legitimized your business? You haven't done a DBA, LLC, corporation, anything, but yet when the world falls apart and we go ask for assistance, we are turned down because we have not created these businesses. And what I want our Black businesses to do right now at this moment, any Black business owner, who is listening to the sound of my voice, I want you to stop using the word entrepreneur. I want you to get that word out of your vocabulary. And I want you to use the word business owner. I want you to position yourself as a business owner. And as a business owner, what does your business require? Have you created all the permits, the licenses? Have you gone down to your local government in your city and got your business license? During a global pandemic, I know in the city of Long Beach, I can't speak for every city, but our city has not gone back to charging fees for their business license. Any business owner, black, white, or indifferent, can go down to the city and get a business license. Let's go ahead and legitimize some of these businesses, because the more and more we go out and we ask for funding, those people who are given the funding are asking, okay, well, where's their incorporation? Are they incorporated? People talk about the funding that went out for the employees. How can you go in as a business owner and ask for funding for your employees when you have no employees? Or if you have employees, there's no paperwork for those employees. So before we look at anyone else and we point the finger at anyone else, we have to take a look at ourselves. Because when we go into these rooms, I always make sure that all my T's are crossed and my I's are dotted, because that's the fastest thing that they would do. They would say, oh, well, you know what, Sharifah, you don't qualify because you didn't do this. You didn't qualify. I qualify. Everything is done. So what do I qualify for? And I can go in with that force and that authority because I've done the work.
Oh, Sharifah, thank you so much for really, again, shedding light on that, because I think sometimes we take the easy way out because that's what's painted before us. And, I can say even for me, we don't know what we don't know, but the best room again to be in is the room of improvement. So we're going to take another quick break right here on Group Portia. Everybody stick with us. We will be right back. Everybody, welcome back right here on Group Portia. I'm joined remotely with Sharifah Hardie, and we were just having a great conversation, of course, about business and setting yourself up to be a business owner. Sharifah, I got to ask this. You mentioned that we are very proud, and I can tell you I come from a strong line of women. My great-grandmother was the type to go to get her hair done every Friday, sit in the salon, all of that stuff. And when it comes to us asking for help, that pride tends to really bleed over and hinder us from really asking for what we need. And so, Sharifah, how can we, as Black business owners, work through that mindset of feeling embarrassed to ask for support?
I love my people. I think Black people are just amazing. I think they're incredible. I'm so grateful just to God to be born Black, to have this hue, to have this melanin. And so there's nothing nothing on this earth that you can tell me about a Black person that I will not see the positive side of, that I will not see the upside of, that I will not see as us having the ability to overcome, even pride. Because the pride that we have, again, was instilled in us as a direct result of everything that we've been through. People placed us in a situation and forced us to have to survive from the beginning. We either died on the ship, got thrown overboard, or we survived and we made it to America, right? And so during this process over the last few years, since then, let me just say over the years since then, because everything we tried to do was destroyed, we had to figure it out on our own, because we knew if we asked for help or if we went to anyone else, they didn't have the resource. Can I call you, Portia, and say, hey, Portia, I'm about to start this business, right? You my sister, we sisters in God, right? So can you send me $10 million to start my business? No, that was a question, Portia. I'm asking.
Do you ask it? Oh, you asking
I'm
me?
asking Portia.
Well, yeah.
Portia Booker. Can you send me? See, that's why we don't get help, because the people don't even understand the question. What I need, Portia, is for you to send me $10 million. Can you do that?
Yeah, but I need to see paperwork first.
So you have enough money in the bank to take out $10 million and send to Sharifah Hardie? That's the question that's on the table.
See, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I need to make sure that wasn't just a rhetorical question or as direct.
No, it was a direct. That's the point that I'm making and using you as an example. There are very few people that we can call and say, I need $5 million to build this manufacturing plant. I need $10 million because I want to go ahead and build this shopping plaza. I need $50 million because I want to buy an island so I can create this retreat. We don't have the resources. We don't have the abilities. When Donald Trump started his business, initially, he got his money from his father. So we can look at it and say, we have so much pride that we don't ask for help. But the thing is, if we were to ask for help, who are we going to ask for help from? The people who have the resources already know they stole it from us. They're not about to give it to us. They never given it to us. Why would they give it to us now? If they wanted to give it to us, they'd have gave us reparations or something. Their reasoning for reparations is, well, we can't figure out how to get the money. We can't figure out, but they figured out how to get money to Ukraine. They figure out how to get money everywhere else. They want to figure out how to get money too. But so again, we don't know who to go to for help. We do GoFundMe's when there's an emergency, when there's a funeral. I need $20,000, and that in itself is a shame. When you have to bury people that you need to raise tens and thousands of dollars just to bury a loved one, that's horrible. That's highway robbery. But the thing is, we ask for help when all else fails. But my whole thing is, we shouldn't have to ask when all else fails. We know I'll tell you right now, there are millions of people in the government in the United States who understand the plight that we are in and the plight that they have placed us. But it doesn't benefit them to give up what they have to give to us in no form of fashion. America has already admitted guilt for slavery. How can you say you have wronged anyone and not compensate them and reimburse them? Anytime, I give you a prime example, O.J. Simpson, they couldn't get O.J. in criminal court, they got him in civil court. They will find a way to make you pay. But yet, where's the restitution for the families of the victims of slavery? Where's our restitution, right? So it's not just about us having pride and us asking for help, because I'll ask, who is it that I can ask? Who can I go to?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's true. And that's why I wanted to kind of pick your brain on that, Sharifah, because I know as a community, there's a lot of generational trauma, as we both know. There's a lot of injustice. And there's also a lot of wounds that are still open that makes it also, to me, a little challenging to just ask, to be direct. Like what you asked me, Portia, I need 10 million for my business to start this manufacturing company, or I need 10 million to start this new school, whatever it may be. Because I know that that's an area that even for me, I've been in that boat. And I just went full time being an entrepreneur this year. And I'm thankful. I can honestly say, Sharifah, I'm thankful that what I have done, the pivoting, has worked. But now to try to step into the next arena or the next area of growth for me, that's where the cap is.
That wasn't a question, that was a statement. But because I am who I am, I'm not going to leave that alone. Because when someone says to me, that's where the cap is, that's something that makes me ask the question, who placed this cap? Who placed this cap there, right? So that cap is somebody mentally or physically placed that cap, because there is no cap. The sky's the limit. There's nothing that you cannot do. It's a beautiful time to be alive right now in 2022, because we are living in the information age. There's nothing that you cannot do. We're living in a technology age. There's nothing that you cannot create. Somebody has done exactly what you want to do. Usually what happens is we aren't clear on what the next step is, what the next level is, where we want to go. And you will never, and when I say you, that's not specific to you, Portia. It's a general you. Unless you have a map or a plan or you know where you want to go, it's very difficult to get there.
100%. I could definitely agree with that. And I know for me, that roadmap, like what we mentioned in the beginning, we only have control over our actions. And for me, when I look at my roadmap to where I want to be in the next 5 years, there's some places that are blank because truthfully, it's almost there's like a fear, right? There's that fear of what's to come, but also there's that excitement. There's that fear of what if I tank again? Or what if the sky, what if I do exceed it? So that's the boat that I can honestly say that I've occupied for a little while.
A lot of that, like you said, is mental, but it's human. And so I understand it. I do believe compassion is the highest form of love. I think the most important thing is that you get in the boat and you have a destination for the boat. So you said 5 years. Where do you see? And this is a rhetorical question. This is a question only you can answer to you, and not necessarily even find the need to answer now. But in 5 years, where do you see that boat? Where's that boat at? I truly believe the how you get to where you want to get is up to God. So the fact that there are blank areas to me says that you are going in the absolute right direction, because the people that make me nervous and the people who make me wonder are the people who are like, and this happens and that happened, that's where I'm about to go. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I have a joke and I've grown, I didn't come up with it, but it's been told to me all my life. How do you make God laugh? And it's tell him your plans. Because you go, this is what I'm about to do. And God's like, oh, that's what you think you're about to do. You know what I mean? You're about to go a whole different way. You know what I mean? So I believe in keeping your eye on the prize, focus on the prize, focus on the destination that you want to get to, and then allow God to lead you down this path to where you want to go. That's how I look at it. The other thing I don't want to gloss over, we talked about a little while ago, is that trauma. And people talk about a lot of the trauma. Our trauma hasn't healed as a people. We don't have, any type of mental health resources. In Long Beach, they are rolling out free therapy for Black people in Long Beach. They understand that we need healing. And I understand that completely. I do. I appreciate it. I'm so grateful for it. But I did a panel 2 years ago, and it was during the George Floyd tragedy. And all of a sudden, everybody in the world wanted to talk. They wanted to have conversations. And I was invited on so many different panels. I've been on panels since then. But this one stood out because one of the questions that they asked me was, and people love to do this, but see, I'm the wrong person. They're like, how do we heal? How do we heal? How do we get to the point of everyone being able to get along? And I'm like, you know what? We have to heal. We have to heal as a people. We have to heal as a nation. But here's the thing. That's just like me going to your house, Portia. And I like to use you as an example because you're a friend and I love you and because you simply here. But that's just like me going to your house, Portia, and destroying your entire family, taking everything that you own, the house, the cars, the land, everything, torturing everybody that was there, doing it for generations, taking every dime that you have, planting stuff on the land that you used to own, taking all the money and the resources. Every time you tried to open your mouth to even object, I throw you in jail. Then turn around and come back to your house, Portia, and say, Portia, you know what? I think we should just let the past go. I think we should. And I'm like, wait a minute. See, that's their definition of healing. Everybody wants to heal. Everybody wants to come together. But you have to account for the wrong that you've done. You've wronged an entire people. And I'm not willing to just let that go. I'm not. We can heal, we can have therapy, but I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting it go.
And I'm with you, Sharifah. I mean, it's interesting to me how our society functions on now. Mental health is a crisis. Mental health, we have to all go to therapy. We have to all work through our traumas. But as we both know, and as we both said, that's years of generational. And it also doesn't work to the fact that, oh, we can all be friends now. It's 2022. All those people are dead. No. No, it doesn't work that way. No, healing takes a collective of everybody being on the same page and the intention, right? Because as we both know, intention is key. We can all say I'm sorry, but if our intention is only just to get the public approval and not to truly be genuine to ourselves, what's the point? But I'm gonna leave that alone.
but healing, here's the thing in simple English, healing requires a check, period. Yeah. No, and I don't care how good you feel. I'm not a good feel good kind of, where is my check? Where's my money? Where's my funds? Because here's the thing, if you take a Black person who's broke, and I'm not saying everybody's broke, but I'm saying if you're broke, if you're stressed out, because that's what they've done to millions of Black people across the country, right? They're either, many people do not have the same resources. So they're stressed. So now I'm trying to either hold on to this job, or maybe I'm unemployed, right? So I'm gonna take this person who is stressed and say to them, I'm gonna give you therapy so you can heal your trauma. No, I need you to heal the trauma in my bank account, right? That will give me some relief, because now I'm not stressed out trying to figure out how I can pay for this and how I can get pay for that, when you have deliberately and intentionally stole from me. So you want me to heal? Write the check. And then I can heal, because you know what I could do? I could go and I could enjoy my life, and I could relax without some of these stressors that are on my shoulders and all this weight. Because let me tell you something, if I'm working 50 hours a week plus my commute, now I got to take off work to go to therapy. Who's going to pay me for that time? Who's going to account for that time, right? I live in Long Beach, California, one of the most expensive places in California to live, right? Now, I don't say that to talk about expenses, but I'm talking about the fact that it's so expensive that I have to be able to work so much to be able to cover these expenses. So now, can I just take off and go sit down and tell people about my traumas and my problems that's been coming down from generations? No, I can't. So again, I'm running for Senate. And so this is the truth, the world according to Sharifah Hardie. But in my world, somebody somewhere is going to cut a check. Okay, that's where I'm at. Cut the check.
And on that note, we're going to take another quick break right here on Group Portia. Everybody stick with us. We will be right back. Everybody, welcome back right here on Group Portia. I'm doing remotely with Sharifah Hardie, and we were continuing our conversation, of course, around being a business owner, healing, and also working through trauma. And Sharifah, if our listeners, if one of them wanted to connect with you and learn more about you, is there a website or social media handle you can share with us today?
Yes, but I tell your listeners, got to be careful before you connect with Sharifah, because I give you the truth, the world according to Sharifah Hardie, and everybody is not always ready to handle my truth. But if you are, you can follow me on Instagram or find me on Facebook at Sharifah Hardie. You can go to my website at AskSharifah.com.
Excellent. So if you guys are interested, you can connect with Sharifah for any and all things. Sharifah, during our last conversation that we had, you were running for the Long Beach City Council candidate in 2020. That's how long it's been. Wow, since we've done an interview. Whew, where did time go? But that's for another day. And Sharifah, I got to ask this. What did you learn from that experience where you're taking now your talents to run for the primary in 2024?
I learned a valuable lesson that changed my life. You ever get some information and knowledge and you're like, ooh, they should have told me this. They shouldn't have told your girl this. Because that's what happened. when I was running for city council, I realized that people had to hear me. They had to hear my voice. They had to hear what I had to say, because most companies, most organizations, they want to speak with the candidates. And those companies and those organizations have to, at the very least, give the appearance of not being biased, right? So they can't just speak to candidate A or speak to candidate B because they like candidate B. Even though they're rooting for them, they have to say that they spoke to everyone. So I realized that they had to hear me. And so I said whatever I felt. I said whatever I wanted to say. And I said something at one forum because there was an Asian lady who was very rude to me, very, very rude and disrespectful to me. And a lot of times people are allowed to be disrespectful to Black people in a way they wouldn't allow to any other race. And after that, a couple of days later, I was speaking to another city council candidate. And she was like, Sharifah, I really liked what you had to say. And I said, did you really? I said, because I took a lot of flack for some of the things I had to say. They literally called me an angry Black woman during that campaign. And so when I told the lady that I caught a lot of flack, she said, yeah, but you make for great television. She said, I have my mom watch it. I have my boyfriend watch it. And this is a Hispanic lady speaking to me, not a Black lady. And that really struck me. I was like, wow, I'm made for great television. And so I really just started saying whatever I wanted to say. You know, I didn't feel the need to have to sugarcoat anything or to make people feel comfortable, because I know I'm not trying to make them feel uncomfortable. So if they are uncomfortable with anything that I had to say, that's their problem. And that's how I looked at it. And so I was like, I have to do this again. I have to run again. And I was going to run for president or governor. And I was like, Sharifah, wait a minute. Let's tone it down a little bit. Let's, you know what I mean? And so I said, okay, but I still want to help my community. And so I threw in my hat in the ring to run for Senate. That website is Sharifah Hardie for Senate.com. So if anyone knows anyone who's in the Long Beach, California area, the district map is on Sharifah Hardie for Senate.com. There's a petition I would love for everybody to take a look at and sign. Help your girl out. Help a sister out, because change is going to come. I'm telling you, 2024.
And congrats to you, Sharifah, for putting your hat back into the arena. I'm excited for you to see this journey. You know, you got my vote. You know, I don't live in SoCal.
That's the problem. That's the problem. I know people all over the world. You got to be in the district. You have to be a registered voter in the district. So what I need you to do, Portia, I need you to move here 2022. So by the time we get to 2024, you'll be established, you'll be a resident, we can use all your votes. I need you to change your life. Come here and help us sister out.
You know, spoiler alert, that might be a thing, Sharifah. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about that. Sharifah, you know, I love what you mentioned about the angry Black woman, because I can't tell you how many times I've been put under that arena and umbrella. And Sharifah, how do you navigate that now? What tips can you leave for other Black women who have been called that, to use that as their stepping stone instead of as a way to imprison them from hindering their growth?
Not everyone likes the fact that I say that. So what happened once they called me an angry Black woman, my city council commercial, I even said in that commercial, still on YouTube today, I said, some people consider me an angry Black woman, but I believe that more people should be angry about homelessness. I believe more people should be angry about unemployment. I believe more people should be angry about the state of America, the state of a society. One of my favorite quotes is Edmund Burke: all that is necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. First Lady Michelle Obama, who will always be the first lady, when she was doing her book tour, she said that when she travels around America, the one thing she's noticed is that most people are good. Most people are good. Black, white, Hispanic, whatever, doesn't matter, right? You know, most people are good. We have so many good people out there, but what happens is we usually sit silent. We do nothing, right? And so when I stand up, when I say something, people are like, oh my God, she's angry. It's not necessarily that I'm angry. is that I'm speaking my voice. And because there's strength in my voice, other people mistake my passion for anger. But I always tell people, I look at it like a child, right? And I've raised two children. My children are 25 and 28, and my children know mom has asked them to clean up their room. If I come home and that room is not clean, they're gonna have to deal with angry mom. That's it. But if they do what I've asked them to do, there are no problems. There are no issues. And that's what I deal with every day as the president of the Black Chamber of Commerce here in Long Beach. I row feathers all the time. But you know what? A lot of times they show me a lot of disrespect, right? People in the city of Long Beach, I'm talking about government organizations, have scheduled Zooms to discuss the Black race or racial issues, and then no showed on those Zooms. So then when I show up, it's like, okay, but now she's angry. No, you should have came to the Zoom. You should have had a conversation. You should have spoke with me. So I'm not afraid, nor do I care about anybody's perception of my anger, because I tell people all the time, I'm like the good Lord. There's always a warning before destruction. I don't just show up going off on people. There's a reason. And if I have to show up, and if the mood that I'm in at that moment just happens to be angry, I guarantee you it is not for no reason. I didn't just wake up angry for no reason.
Oh, 100%, Sharifah. And I'm there with you. I'm very similar. When I get really passionate about certain things, it comes across in my voice. I mean, a few months ago, I had the opportunity to speak to a very intimate group of young women entrepreneurs about podcasting. And in the very beginning, I shared my story of how I had to remove myself from the television world because the psychiatrist diagnosed me with bipolar disorder and, oh, your brain's broken, the whole rigmarole, gave me the whole receipt. And I said, little did I know that breakdown I had was my breakthrough to my true calling today. And so, yeah, I was not happy with that person for putting that label on me. But thank you for doing it, because now I'm doing 10 times better. I can say that I've been prescription medication free for 3 years. And
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'm so proud of you, my sister. But I'm proud of you for my sister, my family. There are different people within my family who have had such labels on them. I'm proud of you for acknowledging, verbalizing the fact that you can go without medication.
Yes, it is definitely possible. I can say from my journey, Sharifah, it took some time, trial and error, like what I mentioned in the beginning. It took a little bit of adjusting, trying to figure out, okay, what does life look like without taking this regimen every morning or every night? Everybody's cocktail's a little different. I know for me, mine was twice a day, in the morning time and at night before bed. And I said, well, let me just try something. I'm open to try. And the first thing that one of my doctors did for me was tell me to start doing meditation in the morning. Instead of reaching for that, do some meditation, do a grounding meditation on YouTube or guided, whatever, and to change your mindset where you're not dependent upon grabbing, kind of like when people are trying to stop smoking cigarettes. You're not dependent upon grabbing it. You're changing your mindset to channel your energy into something else. So I started with that. Then it started with my eating habits changing, my diet. So literally it was gradual over time. But then I noticed the difference. I noticed literally, and I still share the story to this day, when I was finally able to literally embrace the sun's warmth for what it was, I knew then that I was on the right path. Because for the longest time, I was like a zombie taking those meds. I was completely numb to the world. And now I enjoy life. Both the bitter, the sweet, the unfavorable, and the favorable. I love it. I don't feel as though I'm go ahead.
No, I'm saying, but I'm listening to you. But see, I'm not even looking at you. I'm just listening to your frequency and the frequency that you are vibrating on and the words that are coming out of your mouth. You are using words like you were a zombie. But what I'm trying to get you to understand, Portia, is that the intent is to make us all into zombies, because zombies don't stand up against the establishment. They just go about their life. They take their pills. There's no emotion. And let's go back to anger. A lot of people have it. See, it's such a negative connotation, but anger is a natural human emotion like any other emotion. You have to be able to express yourself and feel what you feel and acknowledge what you're feeling and why you're feeling it. And see, what a lot of people don't understand is the people who are afraid of the angry Black man and the angry Black woman already know what they've done. They know what they've done more than you know what they've done. You think they stole $5 million and they know they stole $50 million. Now, somebody stole from you, destroyed your family for generations and caused so much pain and continue. You don't think they're afraid of us? They're afraid of us doing to them what they've done to us. So they're afraid of that anger. They're afraid because they know if we show up angry, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
Oh, they know it's going to be destruction dynamo 2.0. It's going to be the 4th of July times 90. But
I always say, I come in peace. I come in peace. You know what I mean? I was raised Muslim. That's why we always say, Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you. I always come in peace, right? But you still have to do the right thing. You have to do the right thing by people. There's no reason in the world why the people should be in the state that they are. It's no reason in the world why you have so much. Even right now, you go, our freeway is the 710 freeway. People are sleeping in tents under the freeway. We got people who are homeless, just sleeping on the streets, right? These are the sins of the blood that drips from America, and America knows it. And at some point in time, they are going to have to do something about it, because you can't continue to have zillionaires and trillionaires and billionaires and people who are homeless. You have to be able to create a world where everyone wins.
100%. 100%. We're going to take another quick break right here on Group Portia. Everybody stick with us. We will be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back right here on Group Portia. Well, Sharifah, I thank you so much again for coming back on the show and sharing so much wisdom and food for thought with our listeners today, because I know that we got to get people on the right track. And sometimes it just starts with a little pulling of the coat, is what my mom used to say. And so, Sharifah, I got to ask this. You know, we touched on mental health some, but I'm always curious as a business owner, you know, sometimes it's hard to find that balance, right? Because we're so passionate, both me and you are passionate about what we do and helping others. And so, Sharifah, how do you find that balance between prioritizing your mental well-being and also showing up best for the people you serve?
The simplest way is what I tell people all the time, and they don't believe me, and it's boundaries. If you're out of balance, you haven't set boundaries. I tell people all the time, everything in your life is a choice. Everything and everyone in your life is a choice. It's a choice that you are making. So if you are out of balance with your business, you have not set boundaries. And by boundaries, I mean, what are your business hours? Again, we're not entrepreneurs. We live through this energy of money don't sleep. You know, when you don't sleep and you work 24 hours, 7 days a week, and all you do is work, you are operating out of fear. And I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. You are operating out of fear. You believe that if you stop doing business at 6 p.m., you're going to miss out on something or you're going to lose some money. No, you have to have a work-life balance. If you do not have a work-life balance, you are choosing not to have a work-life balance. My business hours, I tell people all the time, are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Now, I may work outside of my business hours, but I reserve the right not to. I reserve the right not to take any call, any meeting, any appointment, because if not, how will I enjoy my life? You know, again, my kids are 25 and 28. I'm looking forward to the day where I can be a grandmother and I can spend my time with my little grandkids and run around at the park. And what I'm not going to be doing at the park with the grandkids is answering emails, right? Because that's the time that I have established and set aside for my life. So if you're working all the time, then guess what? You are not going to be able to enjoy your life. And so many people tell the lie to themselves, and excuse me for if I offend anyone, but they go, oh, well, I'm just doing this right now until I get up on my feet. And then 20 years later, they're still working 24 hours a day until they get up on their feet. What you want to do is set those boundaries now, set your business hours, set your guidelines, set whatever it is that you need to be able to put your business in this particular hours, and then go on with your life. Because if not, you will never be able to enjoy your life. And if you cannot, as a business owner, afford to operate within those business hours, then you need other sources of income. Successful people have multiple streams of income. They make money in a lot of different ways. People who are entrepreneurs, what they tend to do, and I built my first website in 1994. So I've been doing this for nearly 30 years. I'm not, this is not my first rodeo. This is not the first time I've had this conversation with someone. What people do when they want to be in business or be entrepreneurs is they usually have enough money in the bank to operate their business for about 30 days. 30 days. Harvard School of Law says the rule of thumb that you should have enough money in the bank for 5 years, whether or not you make a dime. But see, what most people do is they try to operate their business off of their profits. You can't start a business operating off of your profits. You have to have enough money in the bank. So if you go to the SBA won't say 5 years, they'll say 2 years. But again, most people have enough money in the bank for 30 days. That's why they're working 24 hours. So I would advise those people to go and get a day job. Go take something from their retirement. Go get enough money so that you have the time to set up your business and to create your business that allows you to have a life. If you don't have a life, one of the things that will happen is you will suffer from burnout. And when people start to suffer from burnout, what happens is they don't even know that they're burning out. They start feeling tired. They start feeling irritated. They start going through all these different emotions and they don't understand why. But they haven't created a time in their life for them to be able to relax. See, even the genius, and I was going to say this when we were talking about your mental health, whoever, you are so blessed, more than you know, Portia, that you found someone who could introduce you to meditation, right? Because that meditation changed your life. And there was so much that happened in that meditation that, some people may miss. Is not just the act of meditation, it's the act of consciously giving your mind something to do and to slow your mind down and slow your body down so you walk out into your day with that energy. I try to meditate every day. When I forget to meditate, I notice it in my energy. I notice it in how I'm operating. I'm like, I need to just breathe. Because that's all it is. It's the breath, the air, the breath of God moving through you, and you're allowing it to come into you. So I would say to anyone who isn't setting any type of boundaries, who wants to be a business owner, find other ways to create income until you're able to live off of just your business. That would be my primary advice.
Oh, Sharifah, see, I knew this conversation was worth the wait because not only did we go to church today, we got a whole lecture on how to set ourselves up for success, to be a business owner that thrives instead of tanks. Sharifah, we're about to be wrapping up here soon. We got about 1 minute. If you can leave our listeners with words of inspiration to go into 2023 with, what words of inspiration can you leave with them today?
My favorite thing that I love to say is what I believe and what I live by, and that is I believe that God says to all of us, it is my pleasure to give you the kingdom. It is my pleasure to give you the kingdom, right? So what that means is whatever your heart's desire is, God gave you that desire for a reason. And I believe it would be an unfair God to give you a desire of the heart that could not be obtained. It could not be achieved. And that's not the God I serve. So I believe that if God has given you a desire in your heart, whether that's a business or whatever it is, that there is a way for you to create it. There is a way for you to achieve it. You just have to walk and take steps to get it. Because again, like I say, God blesses what you put your hand to. So if you have the desire of the heart and you're willing to do the work, put your hand to it, gotta make it happen.
Amen. That's all I can say is amen, because she's so right about that. You know, when you put something into the universe, God, source, you ask, because what can you do that God can't? My great grandmother used to say that all the time, and just trust and believe. Well, everybody, that was Sharifah Hardie that you heard from. And that concludes another episode of Grew with Portia, everybody. Thanks for listening and have a good evening.